boys, girls, all my trombones out there, welcome back to Other Robert. I'm Joe, and this is my top 5 movies of 2016. So just real quick and get into it. Honorable mentions. Assassin's Creed. This was not what it should have been by any means. This could have been so much better, really. Especially for those who played Assassin's Creed early on. And I'm someone who, Assassin's Creed to me has impacted me in such a big way. People look at the newer games and they just think it's some assassin running around killing people. And although that's what it may be on the face, in games such as Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood and Revelations, even 3 to a point, it's so much more than that. And so much more in a way that I can't describe in this video because it would take too much time. But I'm a huge advocate for the story and the potential within the story and just the world that is built with Assassin's Creed. And although the movie did not capture what I had hoped it would, and it didn't mention the first civilization, which is something in the games early on, and really go that far into it, it did a competent job at introducing it. The concept to a larger audience in terms of movies. You don't have a lot of time in the movie. I think they made their minutes matter, which is an important thing. Surprised that it got as horribly rated as it did, and not as many people going out to see it. I mean, it went up against Star Wars, which, okay, I get it. But this could have been so much more, and should have been so much more. But this was a very competent job, and it's a very hard story to tell, and I thought they did an alright job of telling it, and it had a lot of intrigue to it, and I mean, Assassin's Creed it had to be on my list here. But other honorable mention is The Boy. If I look over here, it's because my list is over here. I want to make sure I get everything right. The Boy, which did not look good to me at all. It was a horror movie. Looks like it's a doll that's come to life, kind of like Dead Silence kind of thing. Dead Silence is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. But, it looked like been there, done that. But then when you're actually in the movie, and you see the movie, and halfway through there's a twist, and you're hooked. You want to know what's going on, and it changes right there for you, and it shows you, like, this is not predictable. You thought you knew this movie, but you don't. And for a movie that I didn't care about to do that in such a big way and hook me during the movie, halfway during the movie like that, and completely just flip the script, I'm all in. I loved it. I thought that was a fantastic movie. And looking back and watching the first half, it's different to me now. Now that I know where it goes and what's really going on there, I view it in a different light. And I view it in a light more favorable to the viewing experience. Because when you think it's that traditional, just, okay, we've seen this before, it's not as intriguing. But when you actually know what's going on, you view it and you're saying, wow, okay, this was a good movie. And I had to throw it on my list because I think it needed the attention here. And it needed the recognition for what it managed to do. In the year 2016, I thought it was a great movie. Number 5 is The Brothers Grimsby. This is a movie, for some reason, a lot of people did not like or see. This was the funniest movie of 2016. Without doubt. Nothing came close. This was the funniest movie of 2016. Sacha Baron Cohen showed that he's still one of the funniest guys in the world. And we saw with, The Dictator. That one I was not a fan of. It seemed like his first foray into these kind of scripted movies, scripted comedy movies, didn't go well. And that maybe it wouldn't have the same magic that his movies like Borat and Bruno did when they weren't scripted, as heavily scripted. But Brothers Grimsby, it wasn't funny the entire time. But when it was funny, it was funny. There are moments that I will think about and I will still laugh at. That was a funny movie. And in terms of, for me, it's hard to really get a good comedy movie. There's all these movies, and 2016 had so many of them where there'll be a movie, yeah, I laughed a couple times, whatever, right? This was actually funny and actually a standout comedy movie. And to do that, and for it to do this in 2016 and stand out in the way it did, kudos, because that was a great, that was a very very funny movie, and it didn't look like it was going to be. I didn't want to see it. I saw it because it was Sacha Baron Cohen, and have faith in Sacha Baron Cohen because he showed once again that he's got it and he's funny. So number 5 is The Brothers Grimsby. Number 4 is Don't Breathe. This was another movie I really didn't want to see, but it surprised me in so many ways. This was a movie that, as it's going on and as the suspense is kind of building and as everything's starting to happen and it's more of like I guess a thriller. As everything's happening, you're on the edge of your seat. You're completely hooked, and things will happen in an instant that will change the movie. And you're just trying to stay on course with this movie, and nothing's so like bizarre. I mean, there's a couple bizarre elements to it, but when you're viewing the movie, nothing seems so ridiculous that that loses you. You're hooked. You want to know what's happening. You want to know what happens to these characters, to everyone involved. You want to know how this ends. And it was really just a breathtaking kind of experience. And you're on this journey, and you want to stay on this journey, and you're hooked throughout the entire movie. So Don't Breathe is definitely on my list as number 4. Number 3, what can I say? Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Fantastic movie. Definitely one of my favorite Star Wars movies. I love the story that they told. Each main character felt like they mattered and contributed something. This was great, I think, for the Star Wars mythos. I thought this was, especially when they announced the standalone movies, it's like, okay, now they're just trying to milk it a little bit, and maybe that is, to a point, what it was. But they had a story to tell. And this connected to A New Hope so well, to a point where if you didn't see, I don't really want to spoil it, but it connects really well to A New Hope. And the story that's told, just everything feels like, although it's not for the fate of the galaxy, it matters in its own way, and it matters. It feels very relevant, and it explains so many things that happened in A New Hope, and why it makes sense that New Hope goes the way it does. And Mads Mikkelsen, wonderful, right? Wonderful. He was in Hannibal, which unfortunately we lost the show in 2015. Fantastic though. Glad to see him getting these big roles. He's fantastic. So he was great. He wasn't in this movie as much as I would have liked him to be, but he was great in this movie while he was in it. Okay, so number 2. Oh, God. Okay, so 2 and 1 were very, very difficult for me. Very difficult for me. 1 just barely beat 2, but 1 and 2 are 2 very different movies, and were both so strong in their own ways. For me, 1 and 2 are so close, and everything is pretty far below. Number 2 was La La Land. I'm not a guy for musicals, but this was a wonderful movie, and you were hooked. You were connected. You were into this whole story about dreamers and dreaming, and you felt so emotionally attached to this world, and the music was so strong. And even when a lot of the songs, City of Stars, are known, the epilogue song though was, I don't even think there were many words. I don't even think there were words. I found that the songs without the words were the more powerful in this movie. And towards the end of the movie, you were brought on this complete ride, and you are so into it and thinking on so many levels of you feel, right? You really feel something from this movie. And for a movie to make you feel as much as this did, that's what it's all about, right? I mean, that's the art of movies and what they can do. And this show showed it. This movie showed it. And I can't wait to see it again. But I downloaded the soundtrack. It's just, I want to be brought on that ride again. You know, I want to feel what I felt during that first viewing. I want to feel it again because I want to watch a movie again. Um, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's a movie experience that's not common, I will say. All right, and number one, Arrival. Arrival to me was just a little bit better than La La Land. Arrival to me was the best movie of 2016. How deep it got and the story that was told was so creative and so interesting that to me is another aspect of what movies are about, right? It's about like I said, making you feel something with La La Land. Really, the creativity and um, really the story that's told. And with La La Land, I feel like the story that was told was the best story told this year. And so interesting, right? The concepts in the movie, very, very intriguing, very, like I said, interesting. Just it is based on a short story, and I will be reading that in 2017. But really, really interesting story and powerful acting by Amy Adams, and Jeremy Renner was good in it as well. And it's an alien movie, not about the aliens, and that sounds so dumb, right? But they get the aliens right out of the way. In the beginning, it's not about the aliens; it's about the communication, and it becomes so much more than that. And the aliens are really just kind of on the back burner. And to a lot of people, that would sound stupid, but it works so well. And I was so happy I saw this movie, and I was so hooked. And it had me thinking about the concepts introduced in that movie for so long after I saw it. I'm still thinking about Arrival. This was a smart, creative, deep movie, really deep movie. And another thing, and I said La La Land makes you feel. This is another one. If you don't feel anything with Arrival, I'd be shocked because it's pretty powerful, especially towards the end. So a movie that makes you feel so powerful in that aspect and so creative, so deep. To me, this summed up everything that a good movie should have. Of course, also cinematography. The score was great. The acting, like I said, was great. But when it comes to the story that's told, it had all the elements of a perfect movie to me. And that's why number one for me for 2016 is Arrival. That's it. That's my list of the top 5 movies of 2016 with a couple honorable mentions. I want to know your guys' list of top movies for the year. What were your favorite movies of 2016? Are they any that are on my list, possibly? Are they one of my honorable mentions? Are one of my honorable mentions your number one? Let me know down below. And subscribe because it takes around that much effort to do so. Until next time, you have been